Welcome back to Homeopathy at Home with Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Bree. So great to be here tonight with you with another Materia Medica Monday.
Always so good. And tonight's kind of a unique one. We have 3 separate episodes we're going to do to cover what we call the milks. And they're literally made from different types of milk. So the 3 we're going to talk about are Lac Caninum, made from dog's milk, Lac Defloratum, and I'm going to butcher this, so it just is what it is.
Good.
That one is from skimmed cow's milk, and then Lac Humanum or Humanum. Or you can call it, or is it the same remedy as Lac Maternum? And that is made from mother's milk, like human mother's milk.
Yep.
So the general theme of all 3 of these remedies is loving, nurturing, nourishing, caring, mothering. Has a lot to do with vulnerability of people and maybe issues. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Issues around feeling of separation, feeling of abandonment, or the leave me alone, maybe out of protection. Is that maybe?
Yeah.
After they've been abandoned.
Mhm.
Maybe a wounded child with, or anyone with dependency issues or helplessness issues. So, Melissa, do you want to share about the Maslow's first needs in the notes? Do you know any more about that than what we have here? I think what it's getting at is those basic needs of,
So were we protected?
yeah,
Were we nourished? Were we looked after from birth? Right? So the abandoned baby or child, that wasn't looked after, that wasn't nourished, protected. So the milk's just having all that mothering and nourishing and so these could be great remedies for kids or people who didn't get that in the beginning.
okay. And so all of these are fundamental things linked to the milks in general. And then we'll get into more specific keynotes and specific things to look for in each milk to kind of differentiate which one you would choose.
Right.
So I want to ask this right off the bat. We are talking about if people have some of these issues and they're symptomatic, right? This isn't just if you know somebody who has this in their past, just take a remedy because you experienced that.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So if you've got, there could be physical or mental symptoms, but it also could be that it's an etiology. So I've never been well since I was abandoned or, malnourished, and not malnourished in the sense of my body can't assimilate the vitamins and the minerals, but I wasn't fed, as a child. So the person, and then ever since they realized, maybe around 5 years old, they said, this child had not been fed, but they thought that was normal because that's what kids do in their families. They think what they're living in is normal. All
Adapt.
kinds of abuse until they get to school and they realize this isn't normal, so, and it might be gut issues or mental emotional conditions, anxiety, depression, hoarding, food, maybe overeating or any kind of issue around food, so it could be any of those things that you've done ever since you were a child and had to,
Okay.
endure things. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into some deep stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
So
kick it off.
Lac Caninum. That's the only one we're going to do in this episode. And then we'll come back in future episodes to do the other milks. So this is probably the most documented of all milks. Most people know Lac Caninum or have used it. And it's not clear what kind of dog was used to
I was
use
wondering that.
the milk from. Yeah.
Okay.
So remember, for those of you that that listened to or watched our interview with Dr. Jude, and what did we talk about?
Grafting.
Grafting remedies. So remember, in that episode, I mentioned in that it's like apis. We don't kill a new honeybee every time we want to make apis. right? We're copying that remedy over and over and over again. So there could be, we still have remedies that were made from honeybee 100, 200 years ago. Okay. So Lac Caninum, same as all remedies, came from some kind of dog. What kind? Nobody knows. But we keep copying that remedy over and over and over again. And so think about, how do you feel? Well, okay, let's say, because I know not everybody, like everybody has different levels of feelings about dogs. But think about, how do most people feel about dogs? You either love them or you hate them, right? Usually. I mean, I know a couple of
Maybe
people.
not like hate, but
Yeah.
like I couldn't care less that they're yucky, or I don't want them around me, or you're scared of them.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty strong one way or the other.
That's right. And so dogs are faithful, they're loyal, they're loving, they're protective, they're possessive, they can be aggressive. They are pack animals, they have lots of energy, they can be dirty. They can be vicious, violent, wild. They can have, of course, teeth, fangs, foaming at the mouth. Just these are like things around the picture of a dog. Rabid dog, a lap dog, a top dog. So think of the words that we use. Top dog. I'm the top dog. And it's a dog's life. Or I'm in the dog house, right? So these are some of the words that we use with dog. So key rubrics of Lac Caninum are alternating states and states that swing from side to side. So often, remember, you guys, when we're doing these remedies and Materia Medica Monday, you don't have to match the picture 100%. So I still have people say things like, well, I really match closely, but I don't do this one thing. You can still use the remedy. It's not
Or
going to.
in acute situations too, just know some of those deeper mental pictures might not apply to you really at all if you're using it for, is it the sore throat one that moves? Is that one of the things Lac Caninum does? Okay.
Maybe. And what am I doing, Bree?
To get there, because what
am I doing? What's the thing that moves?
okay.
No. Breastfeeding.
Oh, mastitis.
Thank you.
You guys, we're struggling right now. Good. We're having a good time though. So
mastitis that moves can be Lac Caninum. Okay. All right. So Lac Caninum can have serious abuse, often sexual abuse, that has led the person to think of themselves as just dirty. So, I help a lot of people with past abuse of all kinds, and not all of them think of themselves as dirty because of that. So that's a kind of a keynote. Now they think that they're dirty, and they feel contaminated. They feel in some way that they've been so abused that they're never going to be clean again.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is sad because it's such a lie from the enemy, right? Of course we can be clean again. The blood of Jesus. So that is a classic caninum state, when they feel like they can never be clean again. And so this delusion that they're dirty causes them to have incredibly low self-esteem. So they have a sense of being completely unloved, and so therefore they start behaving either really passively, or they become really submissive and they put up with anything that's dumped on them. And so then they put more abuse, they put up with more abuse, or they flip it and they become aggressive and attack. So they get really defensive, or they can reject people. So this remedy and abuse go hand in hand. So it probably should have been part of our abuse. We did do a whole podcast episode on abuse, and I don't remember if Lac Caninum was part of that. I don't remember it.
Don't either.
in there, but it could have been. So if you have been abused in your life, maybe you finish listening to this and read Lac Caninum, and go back and listen to our other podcast on abuse. So Lac Caninum is a psychotic miasm. SYC, psychotic miasm, not PSY. And so if you want to know more about miasms, I have a course on miasms that you can find on my website. And there's that unfeeling side that's cold and hard. And so it's a lot like anacardium. So anacardium is more cold, hard, unfeeling, and Lac Caninum is more animalistic, has more of an animalistic neediness that's coming through. So the melts are animal kingdom remedies, obviously. So we will see similarities to other animal kingdom remedies. And milk is
Anacardium is one.
anacardium oriental. So no, I don't think so. Oriental usually means some kind of plant or something, right? You looking it up?
Yeah, I'm going to.
And you're looking it up? Okay, I'll let you do that. And
Marking nut. Yeah, it is a plant.
marking nut, yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe what I'm reading in my or looking at in my notes is that that really should have been separate. Like that should have been just a separate thought. Is
Yeah.
that Lac Caninum is in the animal kingdom, and so it usually will be similar to other animal kingdom remedies. Although it is also, is there another kind of anacardium?
I think Occidental.
And what's that?
Cashew.
Oh, okay. So still not animal kingdom. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe that was a separate little note.
Just a little thought. Okay. So milk is a food. And therefore, one of the areas of the body that will be most affected by this is the mouth and throat, where the food goes in and goes down. So Lac Caninum symptoms go from left to right. You were right. So that's what we were talking about with the throat.
I've been dealing with a lot of sore throats lately, so I got those remedies in my mind.
Got it. So Lac Caninum symptoms go from left to right to left to right. So it swings. So remember, the main thing is it swings. So it goes back and forth. And so it can alternate sides. It can start on either side, but alternates back and forth. Lycopodium, on the other hand, tends to go right to left, and lachesis tends to go left to right. So when you're talking about sore throats, if the pain or the sensation goes back and forth, you're going to think Lac Caninum. If it goes right to left, you're going to think lycopodium. If it goes left to right, you're going to think lachesis. Okay, so that means it would start on the left and it went to the right, or start on the right, went to the left. So the three L's have alternating right to left and left to right. The three L's: Lac Caninum, lachesis, lycopodium. And all of those are have throat symptoms. So they're similar in that sense. With Lac Caninum, it's not that they lie, but it's that they think that they lie. So there's just this lack of self-esteem and lack of type of self-integrity, where they can't even believe their own opinions, where they think that if they say something, it's true. That if they say something is true, it's probably not. And they have so little self-esteem that they can't even believe that what they're saying has a relationship to the truth. So it's the only, it's the only remedy that is listed as believes everything they say is a lie. And I don't actually think
if you are abused for so long, especially starting early in life, you don't have a gauge for your own discernment and your own opinion.
Right.
I even, somebody in my life used to say something like that if it was her idea, or if she talked herself into something, she would think that probably meant it was wrong. And I never connected it to maybe that abandonment or that neglect feeling as a child, but I could totally see that,
Yeah.
where you just you don't trust your judgment.
Right. Right. Because, and so, you know, with some of these abuse cases, it's within the family, and the child is made to believe that, they nobody believes them. Like sometimes they tell a parent, and then the parent's like, you know, they don't believe them. So yeah, that could absolutely be part of it. So the lack of trust is so deep that they can't even trust their own opinions. So they're always questioning, undermining, and they have such a lack of self-belief. They're trapped. They might feel as if they're trapped in this world where they can't trust anybody and they can't trust themselves. So remember the main theme of swinging back and forth. They can swing between passivity and aggression. So there's again this swing. All the animal kingdom remedies are very sexual. And so they are sexual creatures. Therefore, they are likely to be sort of a person who gets sexually abused. So they can have a fear of snakes. This is the main remedy of fear of snakes. Isn't that interesting? You would think it would be a snake remedy.
That's what I was just going to say, especially because it does share some things with lachesis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is a snake remedy.
Yep. But it's like, you know, it goes back to anacardium being the main remedy for poison ivy instead of roost tox.
Yeah, right. The whole idea of like versus like, not same. Yeah, that is very true.
Or ledum being the main remedy for a bee sting instead of apis, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they can have an extreme reaction to snakes. They can have delusions of spiders. They might see spiders and insects around them, feeling infected and infested and dirty. And this just made me think of this. This is not part of this remedy, but when I had a deep, terrible fear of spiders, I would always see them everywhere. And I'm not saying it was a delusion. I would see them because I was so afraid.
Aware of them.
I was aware. Now that I'm not afraid anymore, I don't have that fear. I don't ever see spiders anymore, like hardly ever. And several times. So since I've been
around,
huh?
You know they're around.
I know, right? Somebody told me while I was deathly afraid of them that you're always within 3 feet of a spider, and I was like, you know, like
that, yeah.
So
I would hate that.
Since I've been gardening a lot, several times I've gotten a spider on me. I'm like, oh, I don't have that fear. Oh, I'm serious. I used to. I would.
Aren't scared anymore?
Oh, I'm not scared anymore.
I don't know about that. I'm trying to think if I've gotten there yet with cockroaches, like, because they're freaky here.
Now I'm not going to hold a spider.
Yeah. Okay. No. But you're not like panicking when you're seeing them.
I'm not screaming. I used to scream. When Paul first came around, he was like, I would scream and it would scare him so bad. He'd be like, he would come running, what's wrong? I was like, it's a spider. He was like, are you serious, right? Okay, way off track. Sorry about that, you guys. Yeah, so spiders. But Lac Caninum has delusions of seeing spiders. So
you weren't way off topic.
Right. So it really is a delusion with Lac Caninum. So Lac Caninum and lachesis overlap. Both of them are animalistic. Both of them are from the animal kingdom. Both are hypersexual remedies. Both have relationships to the throat in particular. Both have this idea of swinging from one side to the other, although Lac Caninum swings one way and then back and forth, right? Lac Caninum is back and forth. Lachesis starts on the left, goes to the right. So often Lac Caninum feels on some level that they are floating out of their bodies. I've heard that. I've heard clients say that to me before.
Okay. And
Yep.
that's all the time, not just like in a state of panic or something, or it could
Yeah,
be.
no, it's not 100% of the time, but it's just occasionally you'll just suddenly feel like they're floating.
Mm,
Mm, mhm. There's an extremely hysterical side to this remedy. They can have alternating moods where they feel like they're out of their body, now they feel like they're in their body, and then out of their body again, floating in the air, walking in midair. So these are all things these are sensations that they feel. They have a fear of falling. They might swear, use curse words, have a bad mouth all the time, and they apply the same crudeness and vulgarity to themselves. I am filthy. I am a horrible person. I am a dirty person. So they apply these bad words to themselves. So they believe that they wear somebody else's nose. I haven't heard that one in clinic yet. So it's a strange delusion that they have, that they are wearing somebody else's nose.
well,
So
if you
the
hear that ever, you know what that is, because that
right?
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, me either. And I mean, well, I probably won't remember it, but I'll be like, I've heard that before, and I'll have to go search my notes.
Yeah.
This is why you keep stuff in your notes. So let's look at the Lac Caninum child. The Lac Caninum child can be angry, aggressive, swearing, cursing, raging, changeable, swinging between despairing and despondent. Even if they're not actually abused, they think on some level that they are abandoned, forsaken, abused, not being given enough attention.
That can be so hard with kids,
Yeah,
because their perception sometimes really can control a lot of their behavior, even if it's not true from our perspective.
right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk through the
Okay.
physicals?
Yes, I will. So Lac Caninum physical things. One of the first remedies you think of for throat problems is Lac Caninum. The throat is like glazed china, like it has a shiny glaze on it. It's raw, sore, with, I think, that film, like that filmy look if you were to look in their throat. Like we mentioned before, it can swing from side to side, left to right, and then back again. It reminds us of the mercury iodine picture. So one has a left-sided bias, one has the right side, and Lac Caninum swings between both. And just like you said before, the throat is the channel for food, or the channel for milk, which is what this one is made from. Throat symptoms that go along with menstrual symptoms could be a Lac Caninum. Yeah.
I have recently heard that. So I have a client who is having lots of menstrual problems, and then she has throat issues only while she's on her period. But I was like, so I took a note of it. I was like, okay, I don't know what this is or where this is going, but it might be like
Well,
canine.
here it is.
Wow.
And it can be either during their period or premenstrually.
Mhm.
They just somewhere linked with their menstruation. So this one is a great mastitis remedy. So sore, swollen breasts, most typically it goes left to right, just that changeable goes back and forth, which I think would be a huge keynote, because that never happened to me. I never had that.
Yeah.
So if that's happening, that's a really good indicator for Lac Caninum. The sore and swollen breasts can also happen premenstrually. It doesn't have to be, but it can, just kind of like that linked sore throat with premenstruation. It can be at any time. It swings from side to side. They may have problems after breastfeeding. Every time they have a period or PMS time, they'll have inflammation or mastitis. Phytolacca is another one
Yeah.
that is good for both of those things. So the sore breast, inflammation, and mastitis.
Mhm.
That one has always worked really well for me, but I didn't have those changing side to side symptoms. If any pain is going side to side, one of the remedies to consider is this one.
Mm,
Doesn't matter what it is. Sore throat, it could be mastitis, but it could be anything.
yeah.
There is also a relationship to, it could relate to having incredibly sensitive genitalia.
Yeah.
And I have had some clients talk about that specifically following abuse.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be, but it might be. These people may crave alcohol. So a whiskey loving person, somebody who likes strong alcohol,
Mm,
they may crave black pepper or salt, but more likely black pepper. So they want those pungent, spicy, strong flavors.
mm,
They may be aggravated by milk. They can be very absent-minded or forgetful. They just have that tendency to just float off out of consciousness. And it's like that sensation of leaving the body. So maybe it's not a sensation as much as a mental state.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
They may faint easily, have vertigo, fainting, have that out of body feeling like they're floating in the air. This person may be an obsessive hand washer
See that a lot lately.
because they feel like they're dirty. Is that maybe why
Yeah. Yeah.
they just wash
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
Man, I never, I mean, I'm always surprised at things I just haven't considered.
Right.
Because you think of obsessive hand washing, think of OCD remedies or some anxiety remedies when it could be related to feeling dirty, not OCD. That's so interesting. Okay. They may have dreams that they're urinating. They may have a delusion that she is loathsome, massive disease. So that feeling of being dirty
Yeah.
and sick. And
Disease. Yeah.
so they may be aggravated on alternating days. So Monday is bad, Tuesday is good, Wednesday is bad, Thursday is good. So very changeable. Lac Caninum tends to be a female remedy, but of course, like any remedy, it can sometimes be used for men,
Mm,
most often for throat symptoms.
yeah.
I'm thinking they're talking about, or you have it like it's used for men most often in throats acutely.
Yep. Yep.
That is when I've used it the most.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever used this chronically.
Mm-mm.
This person goes off and leaves things. They can be incredibly forgetful, similar to Nux moscata. And I never know if I'm saying those second words right. Is that correct?
I would say Moshada, but you could be
Moscata.
right. Moshada or Moscata. Yeah.
Moscata maybe sounds like more Latin-y, you know?
Oh.
I'm making that up like I know anything about Latin. I don't. But that up in the air, floating around, they buy something, leave it behind type of mindset. And this could be linked to their hormonal system as well.
Yeah.
They're often hysterical, like we said before, a very over the top picture, often around menses. So there's a big hormonal link,
Yeah. Wow.
which means it's one of the ones you think of at menopause.
Well, that's what I thought about when you were talking about the goes off and leaves things and the incredible forgetfulness linked to hormonal system. I thought menopause. That's when we really start to lose it. We're like me not being able to find my words or yeah, forgetting things. I'm like,
And it makes sense too, postpartum, like mom brain.
yeah, yeah,
So when women go through these big hormonal shifts, we do get like that. Like we lose stuff, even our words. That's so funny. I never thought about it like that. Like I lose my words. I do that a lot. So any time in life that's characterized by changeable, back and forth, up and down, mood swings, hysteria, no stability, think of Lac Caninum. And then a kind of random little bullet at the end is these people may sweat profusely and the sweat leaves a brown stain.
interesting, interesting. So you know what I feel like doing right now is writing down Lac Caninum for myself right? Just because of menopause symptoms. And the reason I'm sharing this with all of you guys is that I hear this very, very, very often. I just want you to know everybody does that. You read a remedy and you're like, oh, that's me. And then you you read other remedies, or you listen to remedies, you listen to these Materia Medica Mondays, and you think they all fit. And then you get confused and you're like, well, I don't even know which one to do.
Yes. I mean, we did it. We do it here almost every single time. Either we think of ourselves or somebody else that we know.
Yeah. I went and bought Sacrum
Background.
after we did Sacrum. I haven't used it once. I don't even remember where I bought it.
You just need to do it. Just put them all, wear them. Just put them all in your socks. You're going to have like a whole kit strapped to you. One of them's going to work.
That's funny.
That is good though. We do that.
Yeah. So you're not alone. Those of you listening who do that, everybody does that.
Yep.
So Lac Caninum fears, a list of their fears could be death, disease, fainting, falling, snakes, spiders, insects, and ghosts.
Right.
Yep. So that's Lac Caninum.
All right.
You know what I would like to just share at this point is, if you are using this remedy for mental emotional conditions, I would probably do a 200. Now, how often, you have to decide. So do you start with just once a week? Do you maybe you just start with once a week, and then maybe you move up to twice a week, 3 times a week? How to know when to move, or how to know when to increase the frequency of dosing is individual. So you want to start low and slow. When I say low, for mental emotional, I would do a 200. For physical, I would do more of a 6C, 30C. Scratch 30C. I would do a 6C. Like if you're dealing with a sore throat or a mastitis, I would do a 6C or a 200. And I don't know that I can actually tell you why, other than clinical experience. So my clinical experience is that 30C for acutes doesn't usually.
In all remedies or in this remedy?
In all remedies. I don't. So there are a small group of people that I see 30C work beautifully in, but most people don't respond well in acute conditions: cold, cough, flu, headache, sore throat, vomiting, diarrhea, mastitis, with a 30C. So physical 6C, for that sore throat or whatever, or 200C if you're doing acutes. If you're doing a chronic and it's a mental emotional condition that you're dealing with, then I would probably do 200C once a week and see how you do. Give it some time, and then maybe you increase the frequency from there.
And that being said, you always say, if you're in an acute situation, what you have is 30, use it.
That's right. Just use it more frequently, and until you can order the 200 or the 6, and get something else. Yeah. Because 30 might work for you. You might be one of those that 30 works well for.
Yeah.
So great, but that's just usually what I see.
So in the next couple Materia Medica Mondays, we're going to follow up with Lac Defloratum and Lac Humanum.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So Lac Defloratum is really short. So that'll be a short episode, but we'll get to it. That'll come up on the next Materia Medica Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.